Ian Huntley, a Soham school caretaker in the UK, was convicted of taking the lives of two 10-year-old schoolgirls, Holly and Jessica. The girls went missing after a barbecue when they were walking home past Huntley's house. He called them in to say hello to his girlfriend, Maxine Carr, who was at the time their teacher aide. She was not home. Unfortunately for the girls, he choked and strangled them and buried their bodies in the ground not too far away from the home. Here is Huntley being interviewed by a news organisation who tracked down the person who saw them last, i.e. Huntley. Let's note his body language and where his leaks show deception and even in places delight.
How do we know they were here at 6:15? Well, we have an eyewitness. Ian Huntley here is a familiar figure. Evening, Ian. You're the school caretaker. The girls...
Even the first word that sort of came out of his mouth, that was like a soft greeting. Now, he could be a little bit nervous because there's a camera right in front of him, but he seems pretty casual the way he walked up, strolled up. Let's have a look at that again.
Evening, Ian. You're the school caretaker. The girls, Jessica and Holly, would know you.
Okay, school caretaker. There was a little bit of contempt that came in there. Let's have a look at that again.
Evening, Ian. You're the school caretaker. The girls, Jessica and Holly, would know you, and they saw you on the front doorstep. What went on?
The girl, I don't know the girls. I stood on the front door.
Okay. Interesting, because he's got fear in his face right now. He's got his two eyebrows pushing up together and contracting the forehead, and that is your typical sign of fear. He also pursed his lips ever so slightly, which also agrees with fear.
You're the school caretaker. The girls, Jessica...
A little pull of the side cheek there. So it's either contempt or it was a suppression of the smile.
and Holly would know you, and they saw you on the front doorstep. What went on?
The girl, I don't know the girl.
So he fumbled over his words at the get-go, and then he said, I don't know the girl. So it's like he's qualifying the fact that he doesn't know them. He wants to say, hey, I've got nothing to do with this.
You're the school caretaker. The girls, Jessica and Holly, would know you, and they saw you on the front doorstep.
Now, there was a slight pullback of the head when he said the girls would know you. He's pulling his head back because he doesn't want to be associated with that.
What went on?
The girl, I don't know the girls.
Fumbled over his words. There's a second red flag. He moved back away from this question. It's basically a cluster we're looking at.
I stood on the front doorstep grooming my dog down. She'd run away and come back a bit of a mess.
This is absolutely unnecessary information. We don't need to know about the dog being in a mess and he was grooming the dog. It has nothing to do with the girls going missing. So he's filibustering right here, filling in the blanks. People who are deceptive usually fill in the blanks with a whole lot of unnecessary information. People who tell the truth get straight to the point.
They just came across and asked how Miss Carr was. She used to teach them at St Andrews. I just said she weren't very good as she hadn't got the job. And they just says, please tell her that we're very sorry. And off the walked in the direction of the lab.
So it's a little bit out of sync. He turned around, hand pointed right around. His head wasn't quite looking at the same time.
And off the walked in the direction of the...
Yeah, so it's slightly out of sync.
And the library over there.
This is another tape of him being interviewed.
One of the most infamous killers in recent times, Ian Huntley.
So this is him only about 11 days after the girls have gone missing. He's being filmed and he's got a big smile on his face. It's really inappropriate.
Interviewed 11 days after murdering schoolgirls Holly Wells
And he's walking with a good, confident stride.
and Jessica Chapman. He betrays no hint of emotion.
It doesn't help the fact that I was one of the last people to speak to them, if not the last person to speak to them.
How does he know that? How does he know that he was the last person to speak to them unless he was the one that abducted them and killed them? Now, he has a little bit of fear up here. We can feign that to a degree, but there is a little bit here.
I keep reliving that conversation and thinking perhaps something different could have been said.
So you'll notice his little shoulder pops up every now and then, and that's not that one there. So it's out of sync shoulder shrug. So it's more in the area of lying rather than saying I'm not sure, but it's definitely I'm not sure of how I'm coming across.
Perhaps kept them here a little bit longer.
Do you see that? Perhaps that moved up again.
Maybe changed events.
Perhaps if I kept them here a little bit longer, it may have changed events. Even he knows that that's not true. You put one shoulder up, definitely is in deception. Now, a little bit of fear coming through.
Help the fact that I was one of the last people to speak to them, if not the last person to speak to them. I keep reliving that.
Now, there was a slight elongated closing of the eyes when he said that as well. It's like he doesn't want you to see into the soul to see that he is lying.
Conversation and thinking perhaps something different could have been said. Perhaps kept them here a little bit longer, maybe changed events.
And of course, at the time, it was just a normal chat with two girls that you knew.
So slightly, what he did is he pursed his lips a little bit and he did a hard swallow. So he's trying to swallow down the truth. Basically tells me pursing of the lips, he's holding back information. Again, he's in deception, shows a bit of fear.
Well, that's just it, I didn't even know them.
That he didn't know them, again, he's qualifying the fact that he didn't even know them, so he's got nothing to do with it. Thou dost protest too much. He was convicted of these murders, unfortunately for the young girls, but the good thing is he's behind bars. Now I'm going to look at his girlfriend, Maxine Carr, who was his alibi at the time. She pretended that she was with him at the time when she wasn't. She went away for 3.5 years as well. Let's look at her. Now, this is interesting what she says as statement analysis. She's being interviewed. The girls have gone missing. They haven't been found yet.
This is something I'll probably keep for the rest of my life, I think. It's what Holly gave me on the last day of term. She was very, very upset.
Okay, so we look at what she's doing with her hair. Let's have a little look at that.
Life, I think. It's what Holly gave me on the last day of term. She was very...
So there's no real reason for her to flick back any hair. It's showing insecurity. When women touch their hair, we're showing our insecurity. With maybe a strand, it's no biggie. But why is she doing it then? Now she's looking down, not at the camera or the interviewer, and she's talking about Holly, the one that gave her a card.
Very upset because I didn't get my job, and that's the kind of girl she was. She was just...
That's the kind of girl she was, yeah. So she's talking in the past tense as though the girls are gone. So subconsciously or consciously, she knows what's gone on with these girls. She knows what our boyfriend is like, violent, and she would have experienced that. So she would have put two and two together and thought these girls had something to do with it.
Lovely. Really lovely.
That's really very sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was just afterwards when we came.
Okay. So finally she looks up at the interviewer. She probably knew what Ian was like in a domestically abusive situation because that's what he was like. Now, he was employed by the school, but unfortunately he was up on charges numerous times for rape allegations, about 3 or 4 of them. Never got convicted of any of them. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a video on Ian Huntley and his girlfriend Maxine Carr. They both did time. Thanks for watching. This is The Dialogue. Please like, share and subscribe. Please ding my bell for future videos so you can learn more about body language.